The Beauties and Her Beast by A.J. Hughes. Prologue. Once upon a time in a magical kingdom ruled a handsome young prince. He was famous for his early ascension to the throne at the age of 17. Despite being ridiculed throughout the land for his refusal to marry, he was notorious for his ruthless and cutthroat leadership, stepping on many to achieve his goals. By the age of 20, he conquered many nations, expanding the kingdom of Rosacia with the power of a young sorceress by his side. He deceived the sorceress with the promise of marriage into helping him fight and win many wars. After years of deceit, the prince announced his engagement to a nobleman's daughter. Hurt and disappointed, the sorceress confronted the prince, asking why. The prince looked down on her with disgust, reasoning that someone as ugly as her could not marry a prince as handsome as he. Angered by his arrogance and conceit, the sorceress cast a nasty spell on the prince. Prove that this noble's daughter loves you. If you cannot attest that she truly loves you for the monster that you are by your 24th coronation, you will die an ugly beast. The sorceress struck the prince, rendering him unconscious. When the prince awoke, what awaited him in the mirror was a beast so hideous even the heavens looked away. Chapter 1. Freddy Holmes drove down the highway. His snoring son slept in the passenger seat. The incessant cries from his twin daughters, Brittany and Natasha, were exhausting. "Guys," he said, his voice croaking from hours of driving without a break. He wiped a frustrated hand down his face and said, "Calm down. What's done is done." "But how is it our fault?" Brittany complained. "We weren't the ones who killed that guy. Why is my stuff gone?" "Because it was my money that paid for it. Be grateful they let us keep the car. Now please, just let me drive in peace." Freddy turned the music up, drowning out their complaints. He felt a sense of comfort listening to his Lionel Richie CDs on road trips. "You just..." Brittany started to shout. "Stop, Brett," Belle said, her soft voice barely a whisper over the music. "Shut up, Belle." Brittany rolled her eyes. "Nobody asked you." "I'm standing up for my dad. You guys are acting like children." "Says the child," Natasha sneered. "He uprooted our entire lives." "Yeah," Brittany said. "I left my boyfriend and my friends behind, all because he sucks as a surgeon." "You didn't have to come with," Belle said. "You're both adults still living off of daddy. Maybe you guys can get a job and stay in Newark." "Shut the up, Belle." "Leave dad alone." Brittany opened her mouth to protest, but Natasha grabbed her shoulder and shook her head. Brittany rolled her eyes, sat forward in her seat, and put her earbuds in her ears. Natasha copied her. Belle sighed in relief that the confrontation was finally over. She rested her head against the window and watched as the light streaked by. She watched until she eventually closed her eyes and fell asleep. Freddy Holmes was a general surgeon at a small hospital in Newark, New Jersey. He had performed thousands of surgeries over the years. He had a wife and 5 kids. His wife, Angela, was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. They met when he was in college and married at 25 years old. He loved Angela dearly. When Freddy was in medical school, Angela took care of their growing family. Their eldest, Marcus, was now 23. Their second oldest child, Desiree, was 22. She was a nursing student at UCLA. They had twin daughters, Brittany and Natasha, who were 18, and their youngest daughter, Isabelle, whom he called Belle for short, was only 16. When Freddy's children were young, Angela was diagnosed with cancer. They did their best to keep the children happy. Aside from Desiree, Freddy's other children were spoiled and very dependent on him. Marcus was a wannabe rapper. Through missed opportunities and a failing music career, he continued to ask his father for more sound equipment, totaling over $200K. Freddy's twins were aspiring social media influencers. They had less than 1,000 followers combined, but enjoyed using their daddy's money to flaunt new designer handbags on the internet. Belle was more down to earth and conscious of not spending her father's money, but she still had her share of wants, like her art supplies, anime merch, box sets, and trips to Japan. However, she admired Desiree's independence and wanted to follow in her footsteps. Belle planned to major in animation at UCLA once she graduated high school. Freddy did his best to uphold everyone's wants and dreams. When Belle turned 11, Angela died. Freddy was distraught. He had done everything he could to save her, but in the end, cancer won. His heartbreak led to him drinking heavily and reporting to work with hangovers. When it was time to perform surgery, although Freddy had sobered up in time, his negligence due to emotional and physical distress led to the death of a patient. Freddy was sued for malpractice. The case lasted 4 years and resulted in a judgment of $10 million and the revoking of his medical license. In order to pay the judgment, Freddy used Belle's college savings, sold their home, and all of their worldly possessions. He just barely managed to pay off the debt. With only a car left, he decided to move back to Meadow Lake, Wisconsin with his parents until he was able to stand on his own 2 feet again. Meadow Lake was a small town not on the map. It had a population of 400 and was the twins' worst nightmare. Buy the book to continue this delightful story, The Beauties and Her Beasts. Pre-order today. Available at Barnes & Noble and other fine retailers everywhere.